Okay, so today let's try to understand what is serialization. Okay, and deserialization we'll do in the next class tomorrow. So before going to serialization, let's try to understand some of the architecture which you have already seen in your college. Okay, so most of the applications are developed using which architecture? Client server architecture. What is the architecture we follow? Client server. Okay, so client will be here and we will have server. Okay, yeah, typically what is the client? Something like what all client are there? Mobile. Mobile is a client. So it can be Android, iOS, or maybe any other operating system mobile which you are in. So those will be your client. Now similar to this, browser, web browser, we are hitting something, whenever it is hitting to your server and able to get the data, and it is showing in your screen. Something like here what we are doing, when I'm hitting this upload, what is happening? It is uploading this particular page, right? So from where those pages are coming? They are coming from some server, right, which is giving you the service basically. Okay, so typically we have mobile, browser. Okay, so these are the two things which we treat as a client. Okay, and now what happens, we usually have server. Okay, and what is server usually give us some services. Okay, so very famous these days AWS. Okay, what is an Amazon Web Service? Okay, so this is Amazon's web service. So what is a server? Server is nothing but some dedicated machines will be there, okay, which will provide us the service basically. And client will be a mobile or browser, whichever we are working on that. Now try to understand. Okay, so suppose client is in maybe it is in any language. So maybe we don't know, we might have C++. Suppose we are talking client is C++. Okay, and suppose Java is in server is in Java. Got it, right? So now if client will send some C++ code to server, or C code, will server be able to understand? No. Why? Because he is working with Java and client is in C++. So both are different, right? Okay, so now how they will interact? We must have some common medium, right? Some common language which will be followed by all the other languages, right? Okay, so what is the common language which we can have? Text. Okay, so what is the common? Both of the places we are having English, which is common. Got it, right? So typically, so we must have some common language, right? So one of those, some languages are called, there are two languages which is very famous. So XML. What is the language called? XML. Because XML is nothing but extensible markup language. Okay, another is called JSON. What is JSON? JavaScript object notation. Okay, and both of those are human readable text format. So if you are having old architecture, then they use XML, and new people what they use JSON. JSON is very lightweight, very fast also. Okay, so most of the places we use JSON. So now what is the special feature about these two? It can be understood by all the language. If you are working with Java, no problem, it will work. Okay, if you are working with C++, no problem, it will work. Okay, if you are working with Python, it will work. Why? Because text can be understood by all the language, right? But if Java language will send some object, will C will be able to understand? No, because C is unaware of what object is basically. Okay, so that's why we always must have some common language. Okay, what are those common language? We use this XML on JSON. Okay, so now typically, whenever client sends some request, so basically client will send the request, server will give you the response. Okay, so typically whenever client will send the request. Okay, so it will have two things. Okay, so one is called, okay, first one is called data. Okay, because whenever you request, you have to send some data, something like, what is the request? I want to see my username and passwords are correct or not. Then what would be your data? Username and password. Got it, right? So that is about the data. And data, we use this XML or JSON. JSON is the format which you use. Okay, okay, now along with the data we pass some methods. What we pass? Method. So always request will contain two things. What are those? First is your data, second is your method. Okay, and we are having different methods. I mean, you might have studied in your college. HTTPS method will be the right. So what are those methods? Tell me. What are those methods? Tell me. Get. Okay, then post. Okay, then put. Okay, then delete. Okay, then options. Okay, header. Okay, header. So many are there. I mean, these are the different method which we use. So client will always have method and data. Okay, so suppose our data will be something like username equal to something like this, you know. So purpose, okay, and password equal to anything. I mean, anything. This is my password. Okay, now what will happen? Data and method will go to server. Okay, so now we will go to server. So server, what server gives? Server gives us the response. Okay, so it will give us the response. So server always provides the response to the client basically. Okay, so typically response will be something like, what should be the response? Tell me. First, response will also contain the data, right? So what should be the data? Data should be something like correct password. Password is correct or not. Then only your request, I mean client will go ahead, right? If your password is wrong, then what will happen? Your password is wrong. It will show your login screen only. It will not go inside that basically. So now there are two mechanisms. Those are called. Okay, so before doing anything, we do two things. What are those? Those are called authentication, and then it's called, what is that called? Authorization. There are two things. I mean, these are all we are studying of your college is only what we have studied. Okay, so there are two things. What is that called? Authentication. Another is called authorization. Okay, so what is the difference between authentication and authorization? What is an authentication? Authentication is nothing but the one which we did now. I passed my username and password, whether this particular password is correct or not. Okay, so what is authentication? Authentication is nothing but validate whether the credential, what is this called? This is the credentials are correct or wrong. This is called authentication. So let's try to think about the airport. I mean, suppose I booked one ticket, okay, and I am flying somewhere. I am going to my home, native. Okay, so now if I will go to the airport, then can anybody enter inside your airport? No, everybody will not be able to enter, right? So what is the first thing they will do? They will check your passport or maybe any sort of document, plus they will check ticket also. Okay, so they will check ticket. His name is Tapas, document Tapas. So what they have done? They have done authentication that this is correct person. Got it, right? So what is authentication? Authentication is nothing but to validate that I mean the person who came, he is correct or not. Yeah. Now the second thing, what is the second thing is called authorization. So what is authorization? Now try to understand. I went inside my railway airport. We are going inside airport. Okay. Now authentication is done. I mean security guy told me, yeah, you can enter into your airport. I went inside. Now can I go to any flight? No, right? I have booked the ticket for one flight only, some certain flight, right? So that is called authorization. Means I am authorized to sit in that flight. I cannot sit in all the other flights. Are you able to understand? So that is called authorization. So authorization means, what is that? Authorization means we usually tell entitlement. What is that called? Entitlement. In technical word we use. What is the one called? Entitlement. Okay. So to check whether the person is entitled to a menu or menu will be the word. Okay, so to a menu or not. Got it, right? So authorization means, authentication means finding the correct person. Authorization means to get the to entitled for some menu or whatever things will be there basically. Okay, yeah. Now tell me, which comes first, authentication or authorization? Authentication will always come first than your authorization. Okay, this is very typical. In college you might have got this question. Okay, so which will come first? So authentication always comes first or comes before authorization. Okay, so now we got this password and everything. So this will be a typical data. Now response will contain one more thing. Okay, one more thing. And what is that called? Is it called result code? What is that called? Result code. So request will contain two things. One is called data. Okay, another is called methods. And what is the response will contain? Response will contain data plus result code. Okay, so typically we use 200 is for, tell me, success. 200 will be for success. Okay, if you are having 4xx, what does that mean? Something like 404, very famous. Okay, what is 404? Page not found, or resource not found. Okay, so you can say page not found. Okay, so whenever you will have 4xx, means 404, 440, that means what is that? Client side problem. Okay, so where is the problem? In client only. So client, whatever data he is sending, that is not correct. That means, okay. And if the other code which we have is called, what is the one? 5xx, something like 500. Then what is happening? There is some problem in the server basically. So there is some problem in the server side. The server problem. So by result code you should be able to identify where the problem is, whether the problem is in client or server. Okay, yeah. Now what will happen? Typically I'll send this tapas, this one. Okay, those two will be in XML format. Now response will send data, correct password. So tell me, correct password will be which format? Out of those two, one format will be there basically. Then only your both place you can understand basically. So now if I'll start speaking in Tamil or Telugu, will you be able to understand? No. So which language we are using now? English, right? Why? Because English can be understood by everybody. Got it, right? So similar to this only, here what is a language which can be understood by all those machines? this XML or JSON is the format basically. Okay, yeah. Now I'll get the response. I'll check if it is 200, then what will happen? I'll get the response. If 200 is not there, then what I can show? I can show there is some problem basically. Okay, now whenever we go it, I mean, one of the very important and typical question which would be asked. Okay, so difference between get and post. So what is the difference between get and post? Okay, so any idea what is the difference between get and post? What is the difference between get and post? Okay, so if you have any doubt, go to our link where it is. I mean, I already see it. Okay, you can go to that link, or else I mean I can just open it. W3 schools. Okay, W3 schools dot get post. Okay, automatically this will come. This link will always only be there, always be there in our, I mean, whatever link we have got, good links. You go over there. So these are the difference between our get and post basically. So let's try to understand the difference between get and post. Okay, so what is the first difference between get and post? Get always have the data in URL. Where the data will be? Data will be in URL. Okay, so get data will always be in URL. Okay, but post data don't have data in URL. Got it, right? So something like, if I'll tell you, I mean, I'll write one small URL, you tell me whether it is get or post. Okay, so if I write something like http www.gmail.com, anything, okay, and I'll do username equal to Tapas and password equal to okay. So tell me, is it a get request or post request? Get request. Why? Because we are passing the data inside my URL memory. So that's why I told, I mean, get data will always be in URL, post data will not have. Okay, now if I'll tell you, I mean, you write something like http, okay, then something like, I have written everything. Okay, not only what should be this should be the post. So post data will never be in URL. Where the data will be? It will be inside your message body basically. So what is the second one? Get sorry, post data will always be inside message content. Hey, हाँ, yes, हाँ, क्या 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 नहीं डाला, कुछ डाला क्या, कुछ बोला क्या? ओके ठीक है. Okay, so what is this post? Post data will always be the part of message content basically. So you cannot see those data. It will be inside your message content. Okay, get data won't be there. Okay, third difference is get request can be cached. Get request can be cached. Cached means your browser can cache your some data. Okay, and post cannot be cached, and post we cannot cache the data. So caching mechanism is only applied to get, not to post. Okay, fourth difference is get request can be bookmarked. Okay, get request can be bookmarked. What is bookmark? I mean, in your browser one star will be there. When you star it, that request will bookmark. Next time when you commit, just click on that, automatically it will open it. No need to type www something like this, basically. Okay, so get request can be bookmarked, post request cannot be bookmarked. Okay, fifth difference is get request is having size limit, or you can say size constraint. So get request will have some size constraint. Okay, but post does not have this. Post does not have this size constraint, size limit. Got it, right? So this is your fifth difference. Okay, sixth difference is, tell me which is secured, get or post. Which is secured? Post. Why? Because in get, if you'll pass some password, credit card number, anybody can see your credit card number, right? Anybody, if he is there, he can take photo and he can get all those data. What you are hitting, right? So what we can say, get is not secured. Okay, whenever we are passing some sensitive data, we must use post. Okay, correct. So this will be the URL. Okay, so data will not be here, data will be inside this. Here inside your browser, one of those areas is called message body. Okay, inside that data will be there, data will not be there in your URL, basically. So data will be there. Okay, so these are the six very important difference, and this question is very frequently asked, so be very careful with those six. So if you open it, we will be able to understand. Here only. So see here, get post, get, what is this? Some sort of harmless something they have mentioned. Okay, bookmark, get can be bookmark, post cannot be bookmark. Caching, get can be cached, this one cannot be cached. Okay, and history also will be there, and I'll just go through those. We have seen almost six different. What is security? Get is not secured, post is secured. Okay, and size restriction of data length. Get is having restriction, it does not have restriction. Okay, these are the six difference which you should know, basically. Okay, seventh is, okay, get can be reloaded or can be viewed by back button. So here in your browser you have this one, right? Your back button. So if it is a get, it can hit that URL once again and get the new data. Okay, but if it is post, we cannot do that basically. So that's what. So post cannot be viewed by back button. So these are the difference. So these are again all the Ramayana Mahabharata. Okay, let's try to go to our point. Where we want to go. Okay, so the point is very simple. From here we started, right? So thing is that suppose we are working with C++. Okay, there should be some mechanism which will convert our C++ code into this XML. Got it, right? And server also, it is a Java, right? Java will have to convert this Java into your XML or okay. So this conversion is nothing but those are called different names are there. We will discuss those. Okay, so those names are called marshalling. Okay, so marshalling is nothing but conversion of your C++ or object into your XML or JSON. Okay, opposite of this, what is it called? Unmarshalling. Okay, unmarshalling. Okay, serialization also one of those. So serialization is also having the same meaning. So what is serialization? Serialization is conversion of object into stream of bytes. Okay, and what is the opposite of serialization? Deserialization. Deserialization. Okay. In Android, we call the same thing as called parcelable. Parcelable. So parcelable is one of the things which we use in Android. So which does the same thing. What your serialization and all things are. Okay. So what is serialization? Conversion of object into stream of bytes. Okay. And what is deserialization? Deserialization is nothing but reverse of it. Reverse means stream of bytes to object. Okay. So yeah, that's what I mean. Okay, can you see this diagram and able to understand what is serialization? Left side is serialization, right side is your deserialization. So what is serialization? Serialization is conversion of object into stream of bytes and storing it in somewhere in your database. Okay, and what is deserialization? Deserialization is conversion of that stream of bytes to object. Okay. Yeah, Manju. Yeah. Okay, what is the issue? Okay. Okay. No. If login setting will be there, nothing will work now. So then it is UAT or SIT URL. What is the URL? SIT. Then maybe tell him to change the password. Maybe that would be locked now. I will check it. I'll be there in some time. Okay. Okay, or else you can check the log also with his user ID where the problem is. Okay. Okay. So conversion of object to stream of bytes and storing it in your file system is called serialization. What is deserialization? Just reverse of it basically, na? So stream of bytes into object. Okay, yeah. Now before going to our details, okay, let's try to understand one of those things which is called marker interface. What is the one called? Marker interface. Okay, or those are called tag interface. So what is marker interface? Any idea? I mean, first let's try to discuss about the interface. What is an interface? Interface is nothing but planning, so which we have already studied. So typically, I mean, interface will have all the methods as abstract. So how to achieve abstraction in Java? There are two ways: interface and abstract classes. Okay, so interface is one of those. Now what is a marker interface? What is a marker interface? What is marker interface? So typically how our interface looks like: public interface, okay, something like buildable, okay, public in, okay, test, I have written like this. So all the methods will be abstract, right? So we will write like this. So tell me, is it a marker interface? By looking into this, is it a marker interface? No. So what is marker interface? What is the definition of marker interface? Without any methods. Okay. So what is a marker interface? Marker interface is the interface without data or methods. So the interface which does not contain anything is called marker interface. So the interface which doesn't contain anything, it does not contain anything, is called marker interface or tag interface. Both are same. So what I am going to say is marker interface looks like this. It does not have anything. So it is a blank interface basically. Okay, so there will not be anything inside that. Now if you will ask me, if it is a blank interface, what is the use of it, right? We are not writing any code and anything, right? So what is the use of it? Any idea? Any idea? What is the use of it? What is the use of it? So try to understand. I mean, we are going to do serialization. So serialization is a special event, right? So whenever you do serialization, what will happen? Your JVM will have to create some sort of environment for you. If environment is not created, can you do serialization? You cannot do that, right? So what is the use of marker interface? Marker interface is the interface which signals JVM that please create environment for me. This is the only task which marker interface has got. Got it, right? Because if you suddenly start serialization, what will happen? JVM does not know. I mean how to serialize. Then you cannot do. Why? Because environment is not created. This is a special event for you, right? Okay. So whenever you want to do some special event, there are some marker interface which you use it. Okay. So what is the use of it? The use of it is to give signal to JVM so that it will create environment for the special task. Hello? 5 minutes for the operation to be performed. Okay, what are those? Serializable, callable. These are the four, famous marker interfaces. We are having many basically. Okay, so we will start from here next class. Okay, So we'll do the practical of this serialization, deserialization. Okay, then we will finish this. Okay, so we will do tomorrow.